Okay, so something seems to be amiss, or missing. Actually, it's not missing, it's on the ground behind me. Finally got the motor and transmission pulled out of my 98 Ford Escort zx2 Sport. And it's right over there. So, kind of give you a little overview of some of the things that I had to deal with. To get this motor and transmission, it took a few days and a lot of persuasion, but this is what we had to go through. So aside from pulling all the accessories, wiring, plumbing, on and on and on, the first issue that I came across was in order for you to pull the motor out through the top, you've got to pull at least one of the half shafts. And the half shaft that we ended up pulling was the passenger side half shaft, which is this one right here. I attempted to pull both half shafts, but the driver's side just didn't cooperate, and I just could not get it out. I'm going to get it out now that I got everything separated from the car. Shouldn't be such a bitch. But we pulled the passenger side half shaft, and that allowed the motor to basically come out this end first. The half shaft on the driver's side stayed down, and we were able to pick up the motor at an angle and pick it up that way. But before you can get to any of the half shafts to be able to get them out, we had to pull off some things. And because of the accident, it made some problems here. So we've got two cross braces. We've got this cross brace here. This is the one that goes from the front of the car, bolts up underneath here, and then goes back that way. That was the lower cross brace. This is the that was the upper cross brace that actually goes directly underneath the motor and trans. This cross brace goes from passenger side to driver side, and the biggest problem I had was right there. See if we could show that. The crash had taken this little lip of metal here, and it was actually way over here, right over the bolt. So I had to beat and pound and do everything I could think of to get it out of there, to get the bolt off, to get that cross brace out, so that we can pull the motor and transmission, or rather to get to the half shafts. But it took some time. Of course, I had to pull the catalytic converter and got that. So we got it out. Had to pull the cross braces, as I said, and disconnect the transmission mounts, motor mounts, and everything, and it was not the easiest job in the world to do. The biggest problem we had was I was working on this side here, and I had the pinch bolts on the knuckles, or on the where the strut comes down and connects, and of course it never fails. Somebody tries to call me when I'm in the middle of making a video, so we'll just turn the cell phone off. But where the bolts come down from the strut and connect on the spindle, this side, because of the impact damage to the front, all the suspension was out of whack on this car, all the suspension. And I didn't realize that until I had actually taken those bolts loose. And you can't see it from under here, but it's not sitting level, it's not sitting straight, and it was a real pain to get this back into a rolling chassis. We actually had to use a couple jacks and things to get it to line back up, but we got it. So we're going to put this motor in storage, and this was running a good engine. I believe the transmission may be good. I can't show you the damage right now because it's sitting on this tire, but I'll get it back up in the air, and probably tomorrow afternoon we'll get it back up in the air, because I'm going to move the motor and transmission into that bed. I'm going to clean that out and sweep it out, put some tires in there, and that's going to be my storage for the motor and tranny for the year till I get it in the car. But the bell housing underneath was damaged from the crash, and I didn't really do anything with the transmission with the motor running, so I think the tranny may still be good. But anyway, it's finally out. We still got some good parts here. Got a good passenger side half shaft and driver side half shaft. If I don't decide to keep the transaxle, I'll junk it and just keep the motor and call it a day. But now the only thing that I have left to do is pull the computer out, and it's underneath that center console there. I'm going to pull that out tonight or tomorrow morning. Get the computer out because it's a good ECM, and then I'm just going to load it up on the tow dolly and haul this thing off for scrap. I've been trying to sell some of the parts off of it. I sold a fender and tried to sell the alternator, but the alternator got rained on and quit working. Still got a damn good trunk lid. I still got all the lights that was on here, tail lights, and I have this. That was a reflector, not a light, but I have it. But the little pigtails in back that holds it on was broke. And I got a good door. So I got a good passenger door here. I don't know, I may pull this off and set it back aside and try to sell it, or I may just leave it on the car and set it off for scrap. We're going to keep the wheels and tires. That's just a steel wheel. May just let that go with the car. That's an alloy, and I'm not gonna let that go. There's another steel wheel. I'll probably just keep all the tires and wheels because the tires are still in usable shape, but it's finally ready to go. I'm going to pull the computer out and get this thing off to the metal recycler so I can get some of my money back out of it. But it's out, and it's ready to go into storage, and then the real fun begins. Go and start the transplant. May do it before the cold weather sets in, may not. I'm not sure yet. Depends on whether or not I find a job soon. If I don't have a job, I may just take my time and work on it. I got some more alloys, 3 alloy wheels. Tires ain't really much, but I've been keeping these off of all the junkers that I've been scrapping. There's another alloy. So anyway, it's out, and if you have any plans on working on one of these ZX2s, they can be a pain. The hardest problem I think I had on this whole thing was, aside from snaking all the wiring out, was the half shafts, because this half shaft just didn't want to budge, and when the engine is in the car, you just don't have access to this back part here, because you got to be able to get back in here with something and pry it out or knock it out. And if you just try to pull this joint in here, this little universal joint, will come apart inside this boot, which is what happened here. This boot is just the only thing holding this piece together. You can't get into here, and with it in the car, there's really no room to be able to get anything in there. Tried that pry bar over there and a number of screwdrivers, and really got nowhere fast. So, but it's out, ready to go, and hopefully we'll get our project car another motor. And there she is, waiting for her engine, waiting patiently, covered in leaves and crap, just begging for that motor to be set right down in there. Hopefully we'll get it knocked out pretty quick, hopefully. If not, she'll have to continue sitting until we get her installed. But at least I've got a good motor ready to go. So I paid like $150 for the junk car. Donor motor goes in here, and the rest goes out to the scrap metal yard. Get me some much needed money. Prices are about $200 to $210 a ton for scrap cars, but without the motor and trans, it ain't gonna be quite as heavy, but we'll get something out of it. Anyway, thanks for watching.